Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Come to you live from the outskirts here, and that's the Gaming Saloon for Star Wars Day 2025 with your host, Beast Big 248 and Rampant Epsilon.
I almost did the wrong one. Because I totally almost transitioned and still had this one up.
Well,
yep.
Maybe the same crypto person under different accounts will then comment on the video on YouTube. Now that that's popped up.
That'd be funny if just because of me doing that happens.
I don't know why it's just the Futopia episodes. Like, why? Is it because there's? Is it because pie's in there? Technically,
possibly.
For fuck's sakes.
Also, by the way, for those that didn't know, yes, that was a little bit of a behind the scenes of. I pretty much used the same layout for a lot of our stuff.
I mean, what? Why would we need different ones?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, we are front loading with the bad news, and then we'll get the good news. Just don't worry, folks. We're not gonna spend forever on the bad stuff. Thankfully. Before we get into that, Tommy, what have you been playing the last couple of weeks?
Good question. Next question. Because really, I've not did anything. About the only gaming anything that has happened within the last 2 weeks, I have actually also talked about on other streams. So
yeah,
I have a guaranteed Switch 2 on launch.
Hooray! I get to commentate you doing that, basically, since I do not.
Well, see, here's the fun thing with that, though. We're still gonna be in the middle of doing Tales from the Cube.
Yeah.
And I debated on changing something with Randomania and kind of creating that as a off week or something kind of deal. Except I decided against that. So I probably will be doing something. It just may or may not be on this channel. It might be on mine, kind of deal.
Switch to stuff soon. Honestly, besides working on Ace Attorney 2, which I talked about on stream yesterday, I did Zenless's last season 1 update. Just like the second half of the story stuff from the last patch rounds out season 1, which means I get to put a second game on the things I've done, since I'm gonna, for like Zenless and Star Rail, since they're like ongoing gacha games, I'm gonna go, all right, if I complete a story arc or I complete, I guess, a season in Zenless, that counts as game clearing, so it goes on the list then, but it doesn't count otherwise. So presumably if Enforius' storyline ends this year for Star Rail, that gets to go on the game clearing list. But if not, if it ends next year, then it goes on next year's list. But I'm not counting it as a thing I need to do. Hey Charizard, how's it going? Like I said, that's only the second thing I've done for game clearing on a, hey, I want to get my game clearing down. What's my list still at? 38 games? Right. Still have stuff I need to clear out. Ace Attorney 2 is like halfway mapped. I need to map the back end of the game. The first case is actually a lot thicker than Ace Attorney 1's and actually has a lot more evidence. So it'd be a lot more gated.
Which, I mean, that's not horrible, because technically it'd be depending on which case you start with anyhow, so.
Yeah. It definitely is longer than like Ace 21, Case 1. Case 2 is actually also longer than Case 2, Ace 21. Not by much, mind you, but it is nice. Also, Yokai Watch 4 getting low close? Okay. Level 5. I forget if level 5's what level 5's doing at the moment. I swear they're doing something at the moment. I was about to say, I think they're supposed to be working on a new Professor Layton. Yeah, they're supposed to be working on a new Professor Layton. Amongst other stuff. Guess they're staying busy, at least. But yeah, besides that's not been much else. This last, like, week and change and stuff has been not great feeling week, so that's amongst other reasons why I've not felt like doing much. I guess anything else before we hit the news?
No.
Alright, I guess we'll start neutral, since GTA 6 has been delayed to May of next year, specifically May 26th. So it's not coming out this September, or this fall in general. So everyone in the industry who's been trying to dodge GTA 6, you now know the exact date to dodge. Plus or minus a week. How do you feel?
Meh. Thanks, Discord. Meh.
Fair. I'm like, all right, cool. I guess everyone's going to be dodging May 26th next year. Sure.
One knows why, though, is what I don't understand.
Jason Schreier has been like reporting on GTA 6's development for the last like 6 months and basically went, it's not coming out this year. They're not done with it.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know. They're not done with it because they're not crunching on it like Red Dead 2. Which like is a positive, but also that's probably why they're not done yet.
I just don't get why you would give a window and then, oh, we're not done. We're going to push it back by almost half a year.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you not know you were 6 months behind on it?
Because nobody in the industry higher up is good at project management.
So what I'm hearing is not what you just said, but no one knows how to ask the people actually working on it.
I mean, that too. But any other thoughts?
No.
All right, now we start the bad news. Polygon has been sold to, I forget the exact company they got it sold to. Vox Media, or it's got sold by Vox Media to Valnet. Valnet is basically, they own The Gamer and Game Rant, amongst others. They're an AI slop house. They're not a good company. Massive layoffs have hit Polygon. Apparently, a lot of their big names are already out the door, which sucks. And to add on to that, Giant Bomb is restructuring, or doing a strategic reset and realignment of our media brands. Dan Riker and Jeff Grubb have apparently departed. Mike Minotti will no longer contribute to Giant Bomb either. Would you care to guess how this happened?
How?
So the folks that own Giant Bomb, which I forget who is at this point, try to come down on Giant Bomb for standards and practices, to try to make them PG on their podcasts and stuff. And then the entirety of the podcast crew basically the day after they heard of it, they were told this, spent the first 15 minutes of a podcast dunking on those practices. And then that podcast got taken down from their channel. And then no stream happened the next day. But the night of that podcast, Dan Riker went on a stream somewhere, I guess his personal stream, basically tore their owners apart. Let me see if I can get the exact stuff real quick. Also, they are owned by Fandom. You know those shitty people that run all the or that have bought all the wikis and stuff. Those people. That who owns Giant Bomb now after Giant Bombs went through like 3 ownership changes and being bought out by a different company because they're attached to GameSpot. But yeah, Dan Riker said, since Giant Bomb is essentially dead, Fandom wanted to convert the site into a guides-only content. That is not the first time a dipshit vulture company tried to convert a game journalism site into a video game guide site. Fandom executive once asked Dan if Grand Theft Auto has a large player base. That gives you an idea. Apparently, Fandom were pocketing all of Giant Bomb's subscriber money for their subs, for their subscription service for their premium content, and so they stopped promoting their premium subs. Dan Riker dared Fandom to fire him, and he will not show up to the meetings the next day. Some of the Giant Bomb crew might stay with GameSpot. So yeah. I listened to Jeff Gertzman, who used to be one of the founders of Giant Bomb, and has departed long before he. And he told me about how a marketing person did not understand how to market a podcast, basically. When he told him all the things that he could do to market a podcast, and the marketing person was like, "What? No, why?" You ever feel like marketing is the reason everything is terrible?
No. The reason everything is terrible is because people that don't know what they're doing get put in charge of stuff.
Yeah.
And that can go on so many different levels that I don't want to get into. So.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Giant Bomb as well, but basically it's just not going to be itself going forward, if at all, because who knows? But that's 2 major gaming sites just poof. In one day, mind you.
Just turn Giant Bomb into a gaming guide site. It'll be fine.
I'm sure everyone who like did good work there will find work elsewhere, maybe. I don't know. Like, I forget where I saw this, but someone brought up the point of just like, I don't know how many like folks we can support that would be doing like game coverage. Like between like, you know, your YouTube people, your Twitch people, and like the people who know what they're doing and have like experience and stuff with it. Like, what is the limit? But yeah, that is that news. More bad news. Microsoft is bumping up the price of their games to $80. Bear in mind, it is some of their first-party games, and only this holiday season will this pricing go into effect. They also increased their hardware prices as well.
Why?
Because tariffs, basically.
Okay.
Tariffs and want more money.
That's what it more is.
Yeah.
Because at that point, if you're already going to be bumping the games up, that's one thing, but why bump the hardware up when you don't have any change?
Yeah.
It's one of those, I don't see how they think people will justify paying for the box that they already weren't paying for when they bump it up, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. The price increase is the Series S 512 gigs goes from $300 to $380. The 1 terabyte Series S has gone from $350 to $430. The X Digital has gone from $450 to $550. The X base Series X has gone from $500 to $600. And the Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Special Edition has gone from $600 to $730. Additionally, limited edition Xbox wireless controllers have gone from $80 to $90. Elite wireless controllers like 2 core or Series 2 core have went from $140 to $150, and Series 2 fulls have went from $180 to $200, and wireless headsets have went from $110 to $120.
Is it bad that I almost feel like you can justify the accessories more than you can the consoles, though?
A little bit.
Because the accessories, yeah, I get it. The consoles, really?
Also, no increase on the price of Game Pass yet.
So
just gonna throw that out there.
So let me get this straight. We get an increase on games. We get an increase on accessories.
Yes.
And they deemed that it was smarter to do an increase on the consoles, which you don't need, and not Game Pass that people would probably pay for even if they didn't have an Xbox.
Yes.
Yep, that's Microsoft for you. Or, sorry, I said that wrong. That's Moneysoft for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Thanks, Nintendo, for making $80 a possible standard price. Thanks. I was hoping you would not fuck up.
It's been needed for a while, though. I don't argue that that's not something that it probably needed to be done. I more worry about we've now set this as the guidelines, so how long before we start getting the cheapest made ever budget games and still getting an $80 price tag slapped on them when they should be a $30 or $40.
Yeah.
Like, that's where my worry is.
Which I wanted to highlight an article from Jason Schreier that talked just about that, about if you're going to spend $80 a game, there's better options out there. As he points out, the highest 2 rated or highest 3 rated games of this year were two $50 games and a $30 game. And I think I tried to look this up the other day. It took me a while to find it. But I tried to find, let's say, of the top 10, how many games at least came from major developers that were like on the higher end of the critic score. One. And it's Capcom. Because your top 10 are Clair Obscura, Blueprints, Despolate, or Despolate, Split Fiction, because Split Fiction got bumped down. I guess Despolate came out within the last... Yeah, it came out May 1st. Talos Principle, Reawakened, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter, the Rotter Trees Are Dead, Bionic Bay, and Lonely Mountain.
Okay.
Nintendo...
Are you looking at year to date or within the last 12 months?
This year to date. So everything within 2025.
So that I almost feel like is slightly skewed. everyone has been holding back, waiting to see what Nintendo was doing with the Switch 2, so we didn't get any real major games at the beginning part of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I almost think looking last 12 months would probably give a better feel on that.
I would if the damn release here would let me move the left goddamn bubble, and it will not let me move the left bubble. It will only let me move the right bubble.
A better idea would be if you could find something that gave you like the top 10 for last year in general, and just eliminate this year altogether.
Let's see, 2024 best video games.
And I don't say that by being like, oh well, we shouldn't look at this. I mean, we are a third of the way through the year. It would give a relatively good for this year, but that's the problem too. We don't have any real major titles that have came out in this first part.
I have the top 10 from last year. Your top 10 from last year: Astrobot, Elden Ring, Metaphor, 7 Rebirth, UFO 50, Slay the Princess, Caves of Quad, Satisfactory, Animal Well, Balatro. So like 4. Because that's Sony, From Software, Sega, Square.
And see, that's my point there. That wasn't me discounting this year. That's just how many major titles have we had in these first 4 months compared to what we got all last year? Yeah. All last year is a better representation of that, and we're still not even 50-50. Yeah. Would you care to guess the highest Nintendo that I see on the list right now? For last year? Yes. Yeah, what? Because I'm not too sure. 24th. Thousand Year Door Remake. That's right, that was last year. I forgot about that. Nintendo actually has 11th of this year because of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Although that's technically Monolith Soft's made game, but they're owned by Nintendo now, so I guess it counts. Well, it's really only Nintendo consoles that it's on, right? Yeah. Well, then that might as well be first party. I think it'd technically be considered like first party adjacent, but I'm trying to see if there is anything else Nintendo on like 2025. Seems to be a no. Oh, nope. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, 64th for 2025. Nice reference there. Let's see, last year, what would be the second Nintendo game from last year? 52nd, Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah, I could say that. I bet you couldn't say the same for Microsoft stuff, though. Let's see. Have to reset. What would even be Microsoft? Like, Microsoft gets partial credit for Clair Obscura because they did all the marketing for Clair Obscura, but that doesn't count for them. I would only count stuff that was solely for their console. Yeah. What even is exclusive to their ship right now? And that would kind of fall into the same for Sony. I don't even know what's exclusive to them this year. See, that's where the problem I have with Sony and Microsoft following Nintendo's lead. Because at least with Nintendo, while I disagree that a Mario Kart game should ever be $80,
yeah,
I can agree with if Bonanza is essentially them taking Donkey Kong and learning from Odyssey. I can justify the 70 there.
I think the only one that else is out is South of Midnight, and it's 71st.
And I guess technically speaking, when I say Microsoft side of things as Xbox exclusive, I will count if it's Game Pass. But if it's on Steam, no. If it's on Epic, no.
I basically have to go look for the Days Gone remaster because that's the only thing for Sony right now.
Sony, I could maybe argue a little bit more with, for the simple fact of if it's timed exclusive.
If it's not on PC, or if it gets put on PC in 6 months, it's fine. If it's on PC immediately, it's not.
Yeah. It has to not share a release date on multiple platforms.
Days Gone Remastered is 63rd for this year.
And I know it sounds like I kind of made arbitrary for both of those, but I mean, it really isn't.
They're both trying to push to PC to get more people to buy their games because they have thinner margins on their games in terms of profits. Nintendo doesn't have to worry about that. They have large margins that the Switch and the Switch 2 can comfortably, in terms of their player base, it can make a game profitable. Sony and Microsoft need that additional PC money, basically.
Well, it also depends. It also comes down to how they do it. Nintendo, I would have to think more often than not, has a very smaller budget compared to even some of the weaker Microsoft games.
Mm-hmm.
I would venture to say Microsoft probably spent more money on something like Master Chief Collection where all the parts were already made, they just had to make it go together, than Nintendo probably does on most of the games that they put out.
Yeah. Nintendo does not make AAA games, which is why they're not in the same boat as Microsoft and Sony. They're not dropping 6 digits worth of dollars to make fucking Zelda. They just aren't.
Because they don't have to.
Yeah. I guarantee you, even charging for $80 for that Mario Kart World, it is nowhere near the budget of like Spider-Man 2 or fucking Horizon or God forbid Halo Infinite. Since we know what the budget of Halo Infinite is.
But it's one of those, it's funny too, because Mario Kart World is essentially open world Mario Kart. What did we have during the life of the Switch that kind of gave Nintendo the way to experiment with open world?
Hi Zelda, how you doing?
2 Zeldas, technically Odyssey.
Yeah.
it wasn't connected world, but it was still, in a sense, open world. You could play it however you wanted to, and no two playthroughs would always be the same. They had ways of playing with it beforehand, because that's kind of how you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Microsoft and Sony would rather blow all the money to try to see if they can do it on the first time, and then when that fails, just give up on it.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
If 343 had sunk some more effort into it, they could have actually fleshed that out and made it something. Kind of what happened between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. There barely was extra in Breath of the Wild, so Tears of the Kingdom said, oh, okay, we're gonna fix this.
It's not my. I don't know if Jason Schreier brings this up in this article, but I know I heard elsewhere. But like, the higher that price tag that's on that game, the more every single problem that game has is gonna hurt. Because you're a lot more critical. You're gonna be a lot more critical in general of an $80 game than you are a $50 game.
But I have to ask this: there's first-party games that are $60. There are indie games that can reach up there $40, $50 even.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much the price, I don't think, that causes people to nitpick. I think it's more of a case of, if you get a Nintendo game and you, within the first 5 minutes, glitch and fall through the map, that looks bad. Because why didn't they catch that playtesting? You get an indie game that does that exact same thing, and oh, well, it was a small team, that's probably why this fell through the cracks. No, we need to look at it the same. It don't matter on that. As long as we're doing that and justifying, okay, it's an indie game, it's going to be broken, it really isn't going to matter what that price point is.
Yeah. I was just meaning just like tiny things feel worse when it's $80 instead of $50. Like, it's not even like a big thing of like, oops, fell through the map 5 minutes in. It's like, this game could look a little bit more polished. And you're like, I spent $80 on this and the game doesn't look as polished, but I spent $50 on the game and it, you know, you can maybe forgive it not being as polished.
But I don't think we should.
It is a perceptional thing, mind you. That is very depending on the person.
Because there again, that also comes back to that big budget versus indie team.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those. I don't think the price really should make the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anyone that is wanting to treat it that way, in terms of like a professional side of it, because I've seen that happen, they probably don't need to be doing that. Because, I mean, yes, that's the case, but at the same time, take a $80 game that might have cost $100-200 million to make, as opposed to a $50 game that might have took a couple of hundred to make. It's one of those, we're not looking at that the same way.
Yeah.
And I do say it that way. I know that's unrealistic, but truthfully, if anyone buys into even a little bit of like Unity or has the knowledge to not have to, you kind of can do it on your own with a lot less resources than some of these big studios. It's one of those, maybe we're putting priorities in the wrong spot.
Yeah. I just know, keeping that price up higher, and going into an economic downturn, most likely. That's a bad combination. Just in general.
I think if anything, I don't think we're going to see Nintendo back down. I really don't. And I don't think Nintendo will ever have to back down.
Yeah. Yeah, because Tears still sold well at 70.
I think Microsoft and Sony are going to end up backing down. Just for the simple fact of they don't have anything to really drive that, and people are going to sit there and be like, $80 for this? I'll wait till it's on sale.
I'll wait till it's on PC, and then it gets hit in the Steam sale for like 20% off.
And I think that's when it's going to start sinking into them that they're like, well, this ain't going to work.
Especially with how few bets or how few games really Microsoft and Sony put out on a yearly basis. That's something else that both of them are having trouble with. Is like, think about how much output Nintendo has within a year normally versus like Microsoft and Sony have within a year. Like Nintendo puts out a lot within a year, and it's very diverse, and they get diverse on that. Whereas Microsoft and Sony, very little. It's still a bit diverse, but it's very little.
Not so much.
On the diverse or the
on
size?
The diverse.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like for the most part with especially Microsoft, Sony will get diverse. But for the most part with Microsoft, it seems like it is some kind of adventure-esque game that may or may not also be a shooter. And that pretty much sums up most of their games. You'll get a few that it's like, okay, this was different, but not many. And by that, I mean, yes, as the picture even shows here, with Minecraft and like Ori and stuff like that, yeah, there is differences in it. But I'm also sitting here staring at that same picture and I'm like, there are so many similarities between most of these games that are sitting here. Yeah, Microsoft ain't the diverse one.
It's the people. I feel like with Microsoft now, you have to make the distinction between in-house Microsoft and the studios they have bought.
Yeah.
Because, like, what has in-house Microsoft done in, like, years? Because, like, you take that off the table, I'm like, that eliminates Minecraft, that eliminates everything Bethesda has done. Because you're not in-house Microsoft. Microsoft bought you. You don't count. Anything from Activision Blizzard doesn't count for them. Psychonauts doesn't count because they bought them. Ori, I forget who. Ori's not. Ori doesn't count for them because that's a studio they bought as well. I'm willing to count Forza just because of longevity of that purchase.
But I mean, you just said it there too.
Yeah. Granted, I don't really know the origin of Turn 10. Okay, it's an in-house studio.
What's really funny is even what should be their flagship series, if you're sitting back and looking at we really shouldn't count purchases. Halo even shouldn't be counted.
Yeah, because they technically bought that off Bungie.
Uh-huh.
I would compromise and say you get to count 4, 5, and Infinite, but you do not get to count Master Chief Collection. Because those were your Halos, Microsoft.
I still wouldn't. And the main reason I say I still wouldn't is because 4 has too many ties to 3, meaning that it is tied to it.
Yeah.
So if you count those 3, you then have to count everything before it, and you can't. That was technically Bungie. Now, granted, they were like first party adjacent because it was only for, yeah, I can actually say it that way. It was only for Microsoft. Because even CN2's PC releases were designed just for Windows. And heck, 2's used old games for Windows before it became what it is now, kind of deal.
Yeah. Honestly, I now understand why I don't know the origin of Turn 10, because Turn 10 originated within Microsoft. So that is not a purchase, so they get to keep Forza. Because they did not purchase that.
So that and their flight simulator.
I'm trying to give Microsoft something here. I'm trying. I was like, I found another studio that they started. Too bad it's done nothing except supposedly work on that Perfect Dark reboot that's never been getting out the door. That's an acquisition.
All Microsoft has really managed to do is buy. Which is why it's immensely funny that Console Wars ever ended up pivoting to Sony and Microsoft.
That's an acquisition. That's an acquisition. That's an acquisition. Fuck. Is Turn 10 the only thing? Oh my god. Okay, they get Age of Empires. Because that studio is internal. Studio is internal.
So a thing that no one really talks about anymore. Because Civ kind of came on the scene and said, yeah, go sit down.
Yeah. It's a wonder, and you wonder why when Microsoft says they're in third place, some people are like, no, they can't be in third place. How can they be in third place? And I'm like, there's a lot of ways they could be in third place.
All they know how to do is buy. That's all they are successful at doing.
Bear in mind, buy, not make. They can't make a game worth a damn, especially within themselves. They have to outsource everything. So yeah. Shall we get to good news?
I guess.
Okay, we're gonna start off on a kind of. So, you know how Silk Song's been on the docket forever and people have been just coping forever that the game will finally be playable, and it was randomly at the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct?
I guess.
Well, we now know when it will be playable. It will be playable September 2025 at a random Australian museum for video games. Or not video games. at the Melbourne Museum as a part of a video game exhibition called Game Worlds. I feel like somewhere in the announcement it said it was a fully playable build. So yes, you can now play Silk Song in September if you're in Australia and can get into this museum. How do you feel?
Meh.
I feel like some people are about to commit some real stupid shit to get a hold of this game. If I'm being honest.
Oh, I'm sure someone will.
Someone going to commit a crime to try to get this game, and they're going to be successful, and somehow this build of the game is going to get on the internet and it's going to be cause a scene, or they're going to fail and it will make the news and it will be a terrible
and it will also cause a scene.
Once. Yes, and it will be terrible and funny all at once.
But it won't be terribly funny.
No. But yeah, there's your Silk Song 2 news for those coping for it. Here's my one thing, because I sometimes just throw a thing just for myself in here. Hoyo finally are talking about their Fate collab in full that they announced last year, that I mentioned on the show last year. If you remember it all.
I don't.
Fair enough. So as part of the 3.6 update, they're bringing Saber and Archer to the game. We have the art of the both of them. We have Saber dropping Excalibur on some dumbasses that have decided to fight her. That is her ult. Archer actually will be free to pick up. They're just giving Archer for free. You will have to pull for Saber. And Saber will be on her own banner, meaning you don't get to use your pities to get her guaranteed. No other details besides we're going back to Penacony for this Fate collab to do a Holy Grail war. Spoilers, the Grail's corrupted as seen in the previous version of the Saber art. Who could have seen that coming? I'm pretty sure that is the point of every single Grail war that has ever been shown in Fate, is that the Grail is corrupted and bad. But yeah, any thoughts?
No.
Fair enough. Last up. Oop. Don't know why I did that. We have the list of games for SGDQ 2025. We don't have the schedule yet. We'll talk about the schedule when it comes out. But we have a list. There's at least one thing in here that I kind of want to see, but unfortunately it's a backup. But we'll hit some highlights through this. AEW Fight Forever, which is the Ukes made AEW fighting or AEW wrestling game. The Road to Elite mode. I have never seen a wrestling speedrun, actually.
I do want to say, I feel like Plumber for All Seasons was one that Spike and them did through MoMad. Because I feel like I hopped in while they were doing that, but I can't swear to that.
I have not seen this. It is, of course, it's a Super Mario hack.
Yeah.
Why should I not be surprised? It's a Super Mario World hack. I might have seen this. I just didn't recognize it. I was just like, oh, Mario World hack, of course. Interesting. I didn't clock it as that because I just saw the title and I was like, oh, that's a thing probably. We got Amnesia, The Bunker, Glitchless as a backup. We have Balatro 7-deck random seed skips. Banjo-Kazooie N64 versus Xbox console bid war, any percent, no pog.
No pogger.
Batman Vengeance New Game Plus, Beat Saber Expert Game Song Showcase. That will probably be very cool to see. Bioshock 1, 80%, Blasphemous, 80% glitched. The bonus game for Bloodborne, 80% glitchless. Trio of Castlevania games, Order of Ecclesia, Rondo of Blood, and The Adventure Rebirth, 80% Maria only and 80% normal, respectively. Celeste All Hearts Race, Chip Rescue Rangers 2, one player, two controllers. Control 80%, a bonus Cuphead DLC 80%, following the 80% version 1.1 plus regular mode run. The one I want to see, Cursed Halo 80% as a backup. I need to see this. I have seen Halo runs, but I have not seen a Cursed Halo run. What possible tech could they have concocted with the Cursed Halo nonsense?
I mean, the better question is, how do they keep it from soft locking? Because as we have demonstrated, I have found ways to soft lock us on accident.
I can only imagine a liberal abuse of the blunderbuss for movement.
That, or the multi-nozzle sniper, because it can do the same thing.
True.
I do know one thing that they probably won't have used in it, and that will be the crash gun.
If they could find a way.
Granted, I would 100% expect them to show that off at the end of that run.
Yep.
Just as the, okay, and we're going to show you one more thing. We're just going to boot this up, and this is what happens with this gun. Ding.
Crash, kill the computer. Dead Rising 3, the new remake remaster thing, new game plus. Deltarune, all chapters, all bosses glitchless. Donkey Kong Returns HD 80% original mode. Hi Spike, how you doing? Bonus run of Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Is Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers. I feel like that is the... Yes, that is basically the old school Mario Kart, except it's Sonic characters that has made the rounds. It's like a fan-made game.
I bet based off of what Sonic R, I think.
Kind of. It's more 2D based in terms of sprites and stuff.
Ah, okay.
Like, oh, I did not want to save an image.
Well, too bad it wants you to save the image.
Yeah, there's a screenshot.
Huh.
We've got Ender Magnolia, ending A as a backup. Sector 80% as a backup as well. Final Fantasy 9 CSR, HD PC CSR present. Final Vendetta is a backup. Fragrance Point is also a backup. Ghostland Yard is a backup. Halo 4 Legendary full game. Yay. And then Halo Reach 4-player co-op Legendary. Hell of an Office, Hell Rush as a backup. Hello Kitty Roller Rescue, 80%. Hercules, Little Legendary Journeys for silly games is 80%. The first game I clocked that was in the silly block was down the list because I was like, yep, nope, you're silly. You're in that block. Indiana Jones' Great Circle, 80% restricted. Canada Bridge of Spirits is a backup. Burst by Sleep Final Mix HD Character Bid War Race. There is a backup runner for it. So it's not a backup runner, it's just a backup runner. Kirby Superstars Ultra, 80% TAS, and Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver All Bosses as a backup. Lego Star Wars, the video game for the GBA, all episodes. Lonely Park Downhill, free ride, 16 track is a backup. Luigi's Mansion, 80% no out of bounds PAL is a backup. I don't think I've seen a vanilla Luigi's Mansion run. I feel like I've seen a bit of a 3 run, but I haven't seen the original. Mario Kart Super Circuit Nitro Cups. Mario Paint, Nat Attack 1 loop. Marvel Spider-Man 2, all collectibles, all bosses relay. Yay, Spider-Man 2. What shenanigans will they have figured out for Spider-Man 2? Maybe. Will they have figured out how to skip all talk segments?
One could wish.
Yeah. Mass Effect 3, 80% with mod as a backup, but we have Mega Man 3, 80% co-op, and Mega Man 9 Proto Man as a backup, and then Mega Man X4, 100% as a race. And Mega Man Maker Kaizo levels. Metal Solid 3 Snake Eater, European Extreme, invisible enemies and boss fights. Can be upgraded, or it can upgrade it to invisible enemies and boss fights. The baseline is still European Extreme. That sounds like hell. Invisible enemies and boss fights. That sounds terrible. Metal Slug X Medium level 4. Metroid Dread, all bosses unrestricted is backup. Zero Mission 100% as a race is on the docket. Mushroom Man the Spore Wars is a backup. Neon White 4-man race is on the docket in a 3-game relay race of Nintendo Puzzle Collection. Numby's Number Factory 80% race. Would you like Balatro Peggle? Because that's what this is Balatro Peggle. Octopath Traveler Hanit's single story Cape mod and Okami HD new game 80%. Yay! Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus All Time Trials DLC or All Time Trials no DLC, or it can upgrade it to All Time Trials DLC. It's baseline All Time Trials no DLC. Plants vs Zombie Day Night. A Hardcore Silver Server 80% Manipless is a backup. We have Sword and Shield Evolution Trade Alt Main Showdown. What the fuck is this word salad of a category? What is this? Help. Apparently this was at Frost Fatales. I guess it's like get all the evolutions, maybe? Or just you're using Eevee the whole time? I don't know. I'm kind of curious because of the word salad. We do have also X and Y 80%. Quake 64 Easy Run, upgradable to, I believe, all secrets. Ratchet Deadlock new game plus no LCs, a backup. RE7 Biohazard new game Madhouse is an upgrade for new game Easy. HD Remaster 80%, upgradable to best ending. Sayonara Mario World 2 Heart percent, I guess, or it's XXO percent and upgradable to Heart percent. I'm sure that makes sense to someone who played as a game. Sekiro all bosses glitchless. Shaq Fu. This is the thing I clocked. It was like, you're in silly block. It's Shaq Fu. Where, as a reminder, the worst character in that game is in fact Shaq. If you play that game for any reason, do not pick Shaq. He's terrible. He's the worst person in that game. Siren Unrestricted. Sunfinken Melody of Moominville Valley. is a backup. Sonic Adventure 2 Archipelago Emerald Hunt 2-player. Archipelago representation, yay. Sonic Heroes Team Chaos versus Team Sonic Bid War. A Sonic Rush Bid War between all stages Sonic and all stages Blaze. And then is a backup. And then Sonic Ahead Sonic 2 All Emeralds Glitched with Sonic and Tails is on the docket. Splunky Series is Splunky Triathlon 80%. Spyro 3.5 Return to the Forgotten Realms 80%. Star Wars Jedi Survivor 80%. Strider 80% 2-player 1 controller. Super Buff HD 80% is backup. Super Mario 64 120. Mario 3 80% all fortresses. Backup is 80% or backup runner for 80% warpless as a relay race for that. Mario Maker 2 relay race amongst a whole bunch of people. Odyssey 80% 2-player is a bonus game. I wonder if it'll be more stable for them than it was for us. As folks who have gotten very familiar with that.
I feel like it's more stable when you're local, though.
Yeah. When you're across the internet, it's problematic. Super Metroid Low Percent Ice is a race. Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll Main Worlds is a backup. Synchronica, that will be a co-op showcase. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game 80%, and Turtles in Time Arcade at medium. Tetris 99 Battle Royale showcase. Tetris Sphere is a backup. The Bouncer. It's a race between 3 people. Link's Awakening DX 80%. No wrong warp, no out of bounds, I assume. I assume they have a backup runner for that. Majora's Mask, all mask in MG, which whatever that means in Majora's Mask context.
No major glitch.
Okay.
Well, then they always mean.
Okay. I was expecting it to be some specific tech for Majora's Mask. Whenever we get acronyms, I'm like, it's probably tech. Phantom Hourglass 80%. Titanfall 2 all helmets as a race. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 80%. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception 80%. We Love Katamari Reroll Roll Up the Sun. Wii Music Pitch Perfect is a backup game. I can only imagine that must be in Silly Games, even if it doesn't say so. I don't know where else Wii Music would go. Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, 80% cutscene skip, and Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected, 80% casual mode. That is the extended epilogue for Xenoblade 1. That is the highlights of the list. The rest of the list is in our notes and stuff. Any other highlights for you in the list?
No.
I am excited and happy. GDQ is always a good, fun thing to just have in the background and just peek in. It's like, oh, what's run now? Oh, I'll pay attention to this run. Or, that's just, this may not be something I'm interested in, but it's nice to have in the background. But yeah, I guess anything else before we hit releases?
Huh?
All right, we shall kick off on the 6th with Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition in the Three Kingdoms DLC, I assume, for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Captain Blood for Xbox One Series X, PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch. Truck Simulator 25 American Driver for Switch. On the 8th, Revenge of the Savage Planet for Xbox One Series X, PlayStation 4, and 5. On the 9th, Sir Whoop-Ass for PS5 and Sir Whoop-Ass and Immortal Death for Xbox Series X. God, there's not a whole lot. Doom: The Dark Ages Premium Edition for Series X and PlayStation 5 comes out on the 13th. Farming Simulator 16-bit edition comes out for the Genesis on the 14th. Doom: The Dark Ages properly comes out on the 15th on Series X and PlayStation 5. Shovel Knight Dig for Xbox on Series X, PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 5, not PlayStation 4, is out on the 15th as well. Star Wars Outlaws: A Pirate's Fortune DLC for Series X, PlayStation 5, also out on the 15th. And on the 16th, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. And that is basically it. Oh, wait. On the 18th, Only Up Cars for the Switch. Yeah, we are in trenches territory right now with releases. Ugh.
Right?
Yeah, but any other thoughts?
No.
All right, then. We'll be back with more video game news in 2 weeks. But next week, it's the last 4 episodes of Futo PI. Hooray! We get to mark that off the list, and then it's 1 to 2 weeks of video game adaptations, and then it's whatever Tommy picks out of the list of stuff that we have on our project site where we track stuff. I think I'm basically giving the choice to you at this point for what comes after that.
Oh boy.
Whatever floats your, I might put in like little descriptions in there to like help. But like whatever you feel like doing in there is what we'll do after that. But yeah, that's for TGSR and TGS. But between now and then, Thursday I'm back with CAD finally as we chip away at FIs and I add buttons to the FIs Chemi. Because that's where we're at right now. It's fake buttons, mind you, not real buttons. I am not making real ass buttons for this fake ass cell phone. Friend.
Why not?
I'm not. It doesn't even have a real hinge. It has a fake hinge. Because I do not want to design a hinge.
But design the buttons.
They'll be on there, but they won't be functional. I ain't designing buttons. Friday is Cubage with Star Wars after Star Wars Day instead of before Star Wars Day.
Which is funny. Completely unintended.
Honestly, I hope it's good. I pray it's good because I've always wanted to play the Rogue Squadron series. I've heard good things about the Rogue Squadron series, but like...
I am not holding my breath on it.
I know.
Licensed games are very hit and miss.
Yeah.
Mostly miss. So I'm not holding my breath on it.
Yeah. But that is Friday. Saturday is Rainbow Mania with... As I try to...
KH2.
Okay. I was trying to find it on the list. Yes, KH2. Okay. I was on the website. I was trying to find the Rainbow Mania page real quick. But yeah, it is a KH2 randomizer of some variety, basically.
More than likely the co-op idea that I know Spike had done, like, I want to say it was a couple months back. But basically where we both have different objectives. So one of us will be focused on getting all the proofs, whereas the other one will be focused on getting all the lucky emblems.
I didn't know if you were going to vary that in there, be like, oh, one of us has to do like world clears or some other objective.
I think I'll leave it those two.
Yeah.
I think mainly because that's going to be the easier. It will probably be a longer one. Because I'll probably allow proofs to go into like second visit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the other way you get spicier would be like, well, you have world clears. I have to go clear some data fights since I'm the only one that knows how to do data fights.
No,
I could probably do them consistently.
See, the problem with that is we both would have to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because we won't know who's doing what until we're in the middle of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought out the gate we know who was doing what objective. Oh, okay.
No,
never mind.
It is came up with on the fly. It is a case of like you might start in one world and I start in another, and us keep working through the worlds until we figure out who's better equipped to do one or the other. Because it say we both do a world, I've got one of the proofs already, and you've got like 10 of the lucky emblems, then chances are you're probably going to be suited for that, and same with me, not trying to do the other way around.
Okay. But yeah, that'll be Saturday, and then like I said, next Sunday we wrap up Futo PI. And then it's the Skull movie. But if you like what you're seeing, folks, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Exclamation point YouTube and chat gets the archive of all of our streams, including this one. All our stuff from this week goes up Monday. Everything else goes up every other day. Only basically one of mine that I forgot. That I missed when I was doing uploads of my stuff went up today. Because I didn't bother to like start scheduling weekly co-op from last year. That'll be tomorrow, where I probably spend an hour doing that. And then like, I don't know, a couple days later, I will sort Rampant Gaming and get that one sorted. Like, the good part is that since we're doing stuff like Randomania and like, not necessarily cubage, but like the platform perils and stuff like that, that cuts down on the specific weekly co-ops and Rampant Gaming, so it's less than it could be.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of chunk of stuff. I believe it's like 70 some odd streams.
Yeah, because the pre-shows get split too, for those that don't realize.
Sometimes they do. Some of them I found didn't for weekly co-op. They got rounded in, or there just wasn't a pre-show.
Because a lot of times it'd be a case of if I didn't have something planned, whatever you already started with, I was just like, okay, yep, we're going with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is some without a pre-show. But yeah, it's 70 some odd videos in the playlist that I have to schedule. It'll take like a couple weeks, so it gives me time to get Rampant Gaming sorted and out, and then I can schedule it from there. It'd be nice to be like several weeks ahead in scheduling. That way I can like not have to do it for a few days and come back to it, since it is a lot of, it's not even a lot of work, it's just a lot of like cross-referencing like time codes and dates and like notifications from our Discord or tweets to be like, okay, when was this, when was that, to try to like make sure I date everything at least when it should approximately be. I probably won't get all the dates right, but I don't think anyone will be too picky about it unless I'm like 3 years off, like one commenter did for a Fortnite video. Because I accidentally put a 2023 pre-show where we were doing Fortnite and listed it as 2025. Yeah. And it's fairly obvious when a Fortnite is not in the correct year. But thankfully that commenter did that, so I went and checked the playlist and oops, I did that for several of them. So thank you, random commenter, for pointing that out so I could go fix that. Which, by all means, if I have fucked up something on like on the YouTube, do tell me, do comment, do drop by our Discord and yell at me and tell me I messed something up. I will fix it. Because it's a process. It's a long process. But yeah, anywho, exclamation point social in chat gives you our handles for all of our social medias and let you know when we go live. And exclamation point Discord in chat gives you this sort of thing. Drop by, say hi, and we'll see you Thursday, folks.